it says create a class called rectangle that includes a length and a width as private variables, and functions to get and to set and get them, and also to include an area and parameter functions. So we're going to want a class called rectangle. So remember, to define a class, we want to put class and then the name, so rectangle in this case. Then open brackets. And they said for our private variables, I think I misspelled, yeah. For our private variables, we want a length and a width, I believe. Let's go double check. Yes. And then for public, we want to have variables to get the width, set the width, and to get and set the length and width. So to get the width, we're going to need an int variable, right? So we're returning a width. We're going to call it get length. And then we'll call the next one get width. And we're also going to need to set the length and width. So, and I'll define these, I'll define the gets outside of main, and I'll define the void sets in main. So to set the length, we don't need to return anything, so that's why it's a void. But to set the length, set length, we can do, well, let's take a variable, and let's call it x. So to set the length, we can just set length equal to x. And I'm just gonna put like space. Okay, and we can do the same thing for the width. Except we'll use int y this time. And now we can just set width equal to y. Alright, and let's go define get length and get width outside of the class. So remember, to define it outside the class, we always want to start with the data type, then the class name, so rectangle, 2 colons, and then the function name. Okay? And then now we see the actual function. This is going to be real simple. It's just going to be return length. Right? Because all we're trying to do is access it. Let's see what it is. And so it's going to be the same thing for width. Okay. And we almost forgot our semicolon, but we did not. So we did a good job. And so let's check. We have our class, the semicolon. We've got the 2 variables, the public functions, and we have some defined out here. So that's great. Let's go see what else it wanted. So that was it. Oh, we forgot to ask to do the area and perimeter function. So we'll just kind of, we'll do a double area. We'll define these and then here too. So what is this, a rectangle? Okay, so to get the area, we can just return the length times width. And so another thing about it, these should honestly probably be doubles. We'll go change these. I just have a preference for working with the integers. I don't know why. But I don't know, integers are just nicer. I guess you can say they're more whole. Sorry, bad jokes. Anyways, so now that we're almost there. So now that we're done changing all the types, we also need a parameter function in which we will have it return and we'll put brackets around, parentheses around this, and so length plus width times 2. Okay, so now that should be it for our first part, actually. Okay, so that's it for the first part. Let's do the second part, which is to create a circle. Sorry, it's to create a class called circle that has private variable radius and functions to get and set it, as well as functions to find the areas and circumference. So we'll just start down here. So class again, right? And then class name, so circle, open brackets, and it said private was the radius, I believe. I don't think it asks for anything else. Yeah. And then we're gonna need some functions so we can do things within this class. So we need to be able to set the radius, right? So set radius, and we can do set radius, so radius is equal to, z, and we'll go define z up here, because we need to have it as what's a pass. And then we're going to want to be able to return the radius. And find the area and circumference, I believe. Double area. Okay, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the radius is pi times radius squared. We're about to go look that up, but let's quickly add in the CMath function header. So that is correct. And so we're also going to need the circumference. Okay. And this one, I believe, is it just pi times the diameter? Two pi lines. So just not there we go. Yeah, 2 pi r. Okay, so we did great on remembering these functions. these formulas. And so this should be it for our circle class. Except we forgot the semicolon. We didn't forget it, right? Because we caught it. Anyways, so now that we have the semicolon in place, we can go on to the next thing. So now we need to ask the user for inputs for a rectangle and return the perimeter and area. So let's see. Cout, please enter the length of the rectangle. I can't spell. Okay, great. And then we'll cin what we're gonna call L, and then we'll cout. Actually, we're gonna width, and then we'll cin W. And so you notice I didn't define L and W, so we will have to do that. Double L, comma W, semicolon. Good, defined. Alright, I forgot what I wanted us to do. We need to return the parameter and area. So we will create a double called A for area, and we will set that equal to, we need a class first. Okay, so so we will do a rectangle. Okay, a rectangle called test, because why not? And then we'll do test dot set width, and we'll do W, and then we'll do test dot set length, and then L. And this is a good place where we could have had a constructor, right? And then we could have passed W and L into there so we wouldn't have to set the width. So, and now we want to set this area. Yeah, and so now what we can do is we can do cout the, that's not perimeter. Did I? Wow, okay, I misspelled perimeter. Right? That's, yeah, so it's with an E, not an A. It's okay, guys, at least I caught it. Anyways, ignoring that, the perimeter of a rectangle, of your rectangle, because we're fancy, is, and then we can do test dot perimeter, not perimeter, perimeter, I don't know. What we can do, test perimeter, and double checking doesn't take any parameters. We don't need to pass any arguments. And inlined, then we can do cout the area of your rectangle is test dot area inline. And so let's see what happens. So we're gonna pick some numbers we can easily calculate. So I don't know how to spell radius if it isn't obvious that I spelled it one way this time, a different time this way. So I spelled it I after the D here, I after the D here, I in front of the D there, after, in front, after. Okay, so I think it's after, but I have to check. Yeah, it is after. Alright, so if y'all don't want anything about classes, at least y'all know I can't spell. Yeah, let's try again. Okay, so I don't know if I was thinking of a different language. Yeah, I think I was thinking of like MATLAB or something. I apologize, but C++ does actually not support just typing pi. So we're just gonna do the 3.14 because we're not that picky. Yeah, so run that. So let's do 2 and let's do 3. Yeah, so that's correct, and that is correct as well. So we did a great job with the length and the width of the rectangle. So let's. Ooh, this is gonna be a little tough. Find the biggest circle that can fit in the given rectangle and return its radius, area, and circumference. So the biggest circle that can fit within the rectangle is, so its diameter will be the length of the smallest side. So what we can do is we can compare test dot get width. If the width is smaller than the length, if the width is smaller, then we need to create a new circle. First off, is what we need to do. So circle, we'll call it test2, because I don't have any naming abilities. I forgot what I was going to do. Circle test2 dot set radius, and we can set that equal. We need to pass it, so set it equal to test.get width, right? Because we want the diameter of the biggest circle, diameter of the circle to be the smallest side of the rectangle, because otherwise it wouldn't fit. So that's actually going to trying to set the radius though. We are trying to set the radius though, so we need to divide the width by 2. And then so else we can do test2 dot set radius test dot get length divided by 2. Okay, so then now we have our radius, and so now we can see out. I forgot what I wanted us to put out. So we need to return the radius too. So the radius of the biggest circle that can fit inside your rectangle is, and then we can do test2 dot get radius in the line, and then see out the circumference of that circle is, and then we can do test2 dot get, sorry, that dot, I think it's just circumference in line. And let's go make sure, because I remember that the gets don't require any input, but the sets do. My functions. Okay. So yeah, so the sets do, but the gets don't, and neither do the area and circumference. So let's just make sure we gave all the sets inputs. So set, we gave it input. So okay, so we're good. And then we also want to return the area of that circle is test2 dot area inline. Right, and so let's see what we get. Alright, so we'll do 3 and 4. Oh, I should have done something a little different. Anyways, so the parameter would be, yeah, it would be 14. The area would be 12. Yeah, so that works because it's gonna be half of the smallest length, right? And then that's probably right, considering we looked up the functions. I'm not really about to do that in my head. So we're gonna trust the computer's math. Let's run it with a couple other numbers just to see what we get. So let's have some like big numbers, right? Like let's do 20, and then let's do 30. Oh wow, that's a big parameter. Oh, look at that area. And so biggest circle, radius is 10, correct. And we're gonna trust that. Hey, look at that. Wait, because it's pi r squared. And if r, oh, yes, that would be the case. I mean, it have more decimals, but we use like the 2 decimal thing. That's cool. Also, if you notice, like the area got bigger than the parameter, the bigger the rectangle gets, but the smaller it is, the area is smaller than the parameter. Anyways, fun facts. Yeah, well, I think that's it for the code. Yeah, that's it. So if you have any questions, feel free to stop by my office hours, and thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for making it all the way through this video. Here's a little way of saying thank you.